Yay Networks.
Hi, Wild Ones. Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. I'm Whitney Rose.
I'm Connie Daniels.
And today we have the luxury of having someone who means so much to us, one of our dear, dear friends, Juliana Küpper. She's going to be joining us today to talk all things healing, breath work, cold plunges, wellness, just health and wellness is the vibe of today. And we actually have Julie here with us right now.
Woo! Hi.
So we're so excited to have her here, and it just means a little something extra special this week having Julie with us because unfortunately we had one of our dear, dear friends pass away. She lost her battle to cancer, and Sherry Kwai, I feel like everyone knows who she is. Everyone's followed her journey, and she is just the most beautiful, loving soul. And even though she's not here with us on this earth, we know that she's all around us. And typically, Julie, we do like, what's the wildest thing that happened to you this week? And obviously, the mood of this week has been a little bit different, but I would love to share with everyone this experience that you created for all of the people that love Sherry and for Sherry. So, Julie owns a wellness center called Recoup. Her husband does. I'll let you tell your story later, but I'm just going to summarize. Her husband's a chiropractor. She's a massage therapist, a yoga instructor, and a breath coach. Yeah. And they have everything you need for healing and wellness in their facility. So they came together and we did a fundraiser. So we did a breathwork and yoga / sound bath session, and it was so large that we had to move it from the studio to the park. And Julie and her team guided us through some yoga and breath work, and it was the most profound, beautiful moment because all of these people came together to raise money for the Kwai family and to honor Sherry, someone who literally fought for her last breath, you know, having colon cancer that moved to her lungs. And it was like, we felt like it was really important to honor Sherry in that way and have Julie come on and talk about why breath work specifically, along with everything else, is so important and why it's so important to take care of your body. And so just thank you so much for creating that moment, because every person that was there talked about how they could feel Sherry's presence. And you know, as someone who really struggled for their life and to literally breathe in her last moments, like we were all there breathing together as one. And you looked around, there's so much love, and you could just see, without seeing it, you could just see Sherry dancing above us in the sky. And it was a beautiful moment. And so Connie and I thought it'd be really cool to have Julie come and share what she does, because I think it can help so many people wherever they are in life, what they're dealing with, what they're healing from.
Yeah, it's a great tool, and it helps. It can be for anyone, everyone, any age, and it's free.
And your body has to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So before we dive into those specifics, Julie, do you want to kind of introduce yourself? Because Julie is actually one of, like, I'm so blessed. Connie and I are so blessed. We have so many amazing friends, and Julie has always been like an extra special friend. We met when we were like very Mormon.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I was on my way out, but she wasn't. And we've gone through so much life together, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Pregnancies and babies and living away from our family and friends and kind of attaching to each other a little bit. And
because you're from here. You're from Utah.
I'm from Utah,
but then
and we moved to California when my husband went to chiropractic school. We lived in the Bay Area, and that's when Whitney and I, we had been in a bunco group together in Utah when I was a newlywed, and then found out we were both moving to the Bay Area, so we linked up out there, not knowing each other super well still, but then, since it was like the only people we knew out there, we just kind of linked at the hip and hung out all the time. And she was like my first massage client. I think I was started working on her when I was still in school. And she's like, I want you to come every week and work on me. And I was like, okay. And she would pay, she paid me really well. And so it ended up being, we hung out every week, and then I'd linger longer and we'd hang out all day.
We were pregnant
at the same time.
Savannah and Brooks are 3 days apart?
Yeah, they're really close, only a few days apart. So we would reminisce on, the pains of being pregnant and just hang out together while Justin's at work. It was great. It was a good time.
I kept hearing about you until I finally I would meet you every time you'd come out and visit, and hang out with the friends.
Because I would come and stay at Whit's house. Yeah.
Because then it took us a couple of years to talk you guys into moving out here because, of course, you had to move. You guys had to move your whole practice out here, your whole business, and it wasn't just like a house move. It was like
it's a lifestyle change. It's a big life change.
Starting over with the practice, but I'm like, I promise you, we're gonna keep your doors open and busy because we know a lot of people in Utah.
You did, and you have 100%. I think that our practice has grown in the 6-month period of time here that it took 2 or 3 years in California. So it's done really well. So I appreciate all the support from friends and we're passionate about it. It's like it's good stuff. Health and wellness, everyone needs it.
And you've always been into it because you're a college athlete.
Yeah. So I ran track, played volleyball in college. Well, mostly track. I was a multi-eventer. Always been into fitness and health. Same with my husband. We're just kind of obsessed with it. And as I became a massage therapist, it took a while to figure out what I wanted to do, what I was passionate about, and when I discovered that I really loved helping people feel better, and I started out working in a dental office and that was great. I worked with people, helped them, orally help them, but really you're just putting them in pain a lot of times and dealing with uncomfortable situations. And massage was just like an immediate, they leave you and they just are like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. And it was just gratifying to me to be a part of someone making them feel better, and my husband and
I can attest that you definitely hands down give the best massages ever, but you can tell that you're so in tune with the body in front of you when you put your hands on the person, like you're so in tune. It's almost like you're guided to areas that it's like, oh, that's exactly where I needed it, and you're so good.
Thank you.
I've told you this before, but I've had massages literally around the world. Anywhere I go, whenever I'm on vacation, I always get a massage. You are my favorite.
Oh,
and I'm not just saying that because you're my good friend, but you really are.
Wow.
You can tell there's love and passion.
I care a lot. And I really do try to put my heart and soul into every massage because I do know it is special. People really when someone takes time out of their day to give to themselves and come and get a massage and they're in pain and they're aching and you hold all your issues in your tissues is what they say, And so it's not just a physical hour. You're dealing with people's emotions and life things going on and it becomes a therapy session and a release of emotion and it's all these things and I think that's why we just further wanted to take it a little step further and further with breathwork and everything else that we've kind of incorporated into our practice at Recoup because that just all these things that can add to your life and to just feeling better. And for the most part, they're right at your, you don't have to take a drug for them. All the healing comes within your body. It's just giving it the right access to it, and it's our bodies have this innate ability to heal themselves. And that's what I'm passionate about, is tapping into that power and the chemistry and the pharmacy that's within our own bodies of hormones, of, loading up on extra oxygen or whatever, these chemical exchanges that happen to heal ourselves so that we're not stuck in this addictive behavior of needing to always, drug up on something to feel a certain way.
Yeah, like my red wine right now.
Well, there's a time and a place for everything, and everything in moderation, I think, is good. And there's a place for that as well. And
So
I'm not opposed to it, obviously.
So John, your husband, is a chiropractor, massage therapist. What sparked? When did the breathwork aspect start?
Yeah. There's a place I was invited to go to called a place in Carlsbad, California, where I used to live, called Breathe Degrees, and it was a chiropractor that also started this breathwork place. And I had been a couple times and just absolutely couldn't believe how amazing I felt afterwards. And it was a similar thing where they did breathwork, and then they did a cold plunge afterwards. And it was like a guided meditation. It kind of took you on a journey. It infused all this cool music. And I was blown away by how incredible I felt and how I could tap into this experience just by my own body. So I was very intrigued by it, but we had moved away right about the time that they opened this thing. And when we moved to Utah, Sherry, who we just talked about, had invited us all really, to the meditation retreat in Jamaica. And Sherry was the one she was highly into meditation and breath work at the time, and doing Kundalini and all these things to help her deal with, to heal her body. She wanted to heal her body. Mm-hmm. She wanted to do whatever possible that was at her own disposal to heal her own body. So she kept inviting me to these meditations and these breath work. So I started going with her. I started going and showing up, and I have chills right now thinking about it. Like, I literally felt such a strong pull to it. It's something I probably would have never done in my past. It's something I probably wouldn't have really been open to but it was Sherry that was inviting me, so I did it. And then it opened, I don't know, it awakened something in me that I couldn't deny how powerful it was. And I was like, I want to share this with the world. I want to share this with everyone I love. I want to learn as much as I can about it. And I just became obsessed, and I'm reading all these books, and I'm dragging my husband to it, and he got obsessed with it too. And so we went on that meditation retreat to Jamaica, and it changed my life. We're not taking any drugs. We're not on alcohol. We're just simply meditating and breathing. And I've never felt so inspired, so in tune with my own body and my own mind and my own spirit. Never felt like that in my life. And I'm like, there's something really key to this that everyone can tap into, and everyone needs to start realizing its power, and you can just do it on your own, in your own time, in your own way, and with your own breath and your own mind, and just find stillness. Anyways, I could go on about it. What other questions do you have?
Yeah, well, my very first experience, so I remember, I don't know if you were here or not, but we had a birthday party for our other friend, Ashley.
Yeah.
And we had massages and we did yoga.
Yes.
And during my massage, because I usually only get massages from Julie too, because everyone else, I'm like, stop wasting my time. Like, it irritates me because now I know what a good massage is like. But we were getting these massages, and I just remember the woman being like, your diaphragm is so tight. Yes. And she's like, are you stressed? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, you're holding on to so much in your diaphragm. She goes, you need to look up breath work. And I just let it go. I'm like, okay, take deep breaths. Got it. Okay, deep breath, right? But my first experience was in Arizona with a shaman.
Cool.
And we did cacao tea.
Yeah.
And did the exact same style of breath work that you do. Belly, chest, out.
Yeah.
And then it builds and gets hotter and faster. And with a cacao, which is a heart opener.
Yes.
And that was right around the time where I was dealing with working through abuse, childhood abuse, right? So I
helps deal with trauma, helps work through it.
But I
Wait,
remember
is this what they filmed on
Yeah.
Housewives? Okay, I remember all of you guys.
Yeah,
I remember that episode.
It's like crazy to me that my real first experience, it was on Housewives, but I did go there seeking this woman. I actually wanted to do a psilocybin journey with her as well, but they couldn't film it, so we did cacao tea. And I just remember thinking, like, I forgot I was even on a show. Like, there was no cameras around me. I was in the zone, and it hurt so bad. My lungs were on fire. Like, It was painful. Like, the breath work was really hard for me at first. Like, it hurt.
Yes.
And then there was this, like, breakthrough moment where I was still on fire, and my entire body was tingling, and I just started yelling. Wow. I just started screaming. Like, just releasing.
Releasing, yeah.
And then she, like, came over to me, kind of like what you do. And she put her hands on my shoulder, and she goes, go deeper.
Wow.
And so she's, like, breathing with me, and she's like, go deeper, go deeper. And I just went deeper and deeper. And then, you know how you have us pause and reset for a second?
Yeah.
And in that pause, I just started crying because it was the first time that I had felt love in a long time.
Oh, my God.
Because I released a lot of pain. And then I felt love. And so, like, every time I do it with you, I've only done it with you a couple of times now, but, like, I try to go as deep as I can because I know.
I can tell.
So
I watch you get into it. I'm so proud of you every time. It's such a treat for me to watch when I can see people getting into it like you. You nail it, dude. Your belly, chest, everything is moving, the whole wave of your body, and that is how you tap in. You're a pro. You're a pro.
Well, so what I want you to explain is, like, what is happening? Because
Right.
all I know is it hurts. Like, it's hard.
Right.
It's hard to allow yourself to go there. And this last time with Sherry, I had Bobby. So I was, like, pressing on her tummy, her chest. I was trying to teach her the rhythm, you know, because she's just staring at me like, what are we doing?
I couldn't give all these instructions in that moment.
Because we had
it was
a lot of people.
Right.
But, like, explain that, because it's, like, the highest level of oxygen, right?
Yeah. So,
like, what happens? Why
you're
does it
loading up
do that?
on all this extra oxygen. Oxygen is our life force, right? It is our life force. It's what gives us life. You cannot go very long without your breath. I mean, minutes, that's it. You can go a few days without water. You can go even longer without food. You cannot go very long without breath. It is the one thing that shuts down immediately when you don't have an oxygen, your brain and your central nervous system. So the first thing that gets fed when you're breathing all this extra oxygen is your brain. Your brain lights up like crazy. But what the fire you're feeling, this is the thing. In this modern day time, we are not used to breathing deeply. There's no need to use our lungs to their full capacity for the lives that we live. We go to the gym, we exercise, maybe some big time athletes, some endurance athletes are really good at it and they might have some really strong respiratory muscles. But the average person, you're using a fraction, you're breathing in like a third of what your lungs are fully capable of doing. So your respiratory system is weak. It is not familiar with this big expansion and getting your rib cage to move out, all these muscles to engage and getting your diaphragm involved. Diaphragmic breathing is gnarly and it is powerful.
Hard to connect the two.
Exactly. It takes
we're not
practice.
We're not used to it. And
Yes.
I realized after I did my first breathwork class and I learned how to use the full capacity of my lungs and realized it actually made me conscious of how I was breathing the next day. I was driving around.
Totally.
And most of us live in a lot of fight or flight responses
Exactly.
these days. And so when you're stressed, you breathe even shorter, more shallow.
You might even hold your breath.
Yeah, you might even hold your breath and not realize you're doing this. So after I was so aware of my breath, I was driving around and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm barely breathing. Like,
Exactly.
and I would just take a few deep breaths and it would just instantly calm me down. And yeah, it's powerful, and we don't realize it because it's so automatic.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
how many
it's
times
something-
have we been in yoga together and they're like, breath is life. You
you're like,
you
yeah,
literally
yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
You, like you flow. You're like the whole point of it is to flow with your breath, and it's like, okay, we're trying, but really we're kind of thinking about our shopping list or like holding our breath or
Trying to
like,
make it look pretty.
Yeah,
Does my leg look good when I do this?
Yeah. Yeah, like let's
Exactly.
be honest, who's the cute guy in the corner? like there's just so many other. Are my
Distractions.
boobs hanging out? Like, do I need to fix my hair? Like it never has connected until you started doing this breath work. Like of the like it is vital.
It is. And I was going to share one thing that's so cool about the diaphragm and why it's so cool to engage this is because they've just discovered more recently that we've always thought it was this muscle. It's just a muscle that goes in, up and down. It helps you breathe. As it goes down,
What is our
inhales.
diaphragm exactly?
So it is. They think it's a muscle, but now they're discovering, all these neuroscientists at Stanford, Dr. Huberman and whoever else is over there, that it's an organ. It is not a muscle that just moves. It is connected to your brain neurologically. So in an essence, it basically connects your emotions, your thoughts, and how you're feeling with your breath. So your breath can control how you're breathing, your rhythm, your pace, how shallow you're breathing can determine how you feel. Like whether you're overwhelmed and anxious or whether you're happy and elated and calm. So like all of that ties directly with your breath. So that is what's so cool, is that it is not just this automatic thing that we do. We have control over our breath. Yes, we can do it without thinking, right? Our body has the ability to do it without thinking, but we also can control it. And the other really cool thing is that, so you can control its pace, whether you breathe deeply or not, and you can consciously, intentionally determine how you're breathing. And the other cool thing I was going to say is, hold on, I lost my train of thought. Something along those lines is your emotions. Shit, I forgot.
Well, yeah, like because I was asking because it's an organ, but like our diaphragm is everything right here, right?
Yeah, it's this big thing that pushes up, and so that's why you have to
ribs?
push. It sits right under your lungs. Yeah, it kind of goes right up in your ribs here. Okay. And
you have to watch on YouTube to see this.
Yes, as you push your belly out, it forces the diaphragm to drop down so that the lower part, and it pulls the air in to the very lower parts of your lungs. Then as you breathe in through the chest, it fills up the upper parts of your lungs. Mm-hmm. So this practice, the cool thing is that opera singers use this technique to get in more air so that they can sing for longer, more powerful sounds.
Wait, is Edward in your classes? Our friend Edward is an opera singer.
He has come before. I need to get him in more. But he's probably familiar with that.
And that's the part that to me burns, is when the air comes from the diaphragm to the lungs is when I struggle.
Wow.
Because I
haven't really.
And you have you kind of have. Do you have asthma?
Oh, I have bad asthma.
So that's why it will help you. It's number one thing is it helps people with asthma. That's why you need to bring your daughter too.
I know Bobby needs.
Yes, because it strengthens. What's cool is it's isolating your breathing. So you do this heavy breathing when you exercise, but what's cool is when you isolate your breathing, you're just laying down doing or sitting up, relaxed, doing breath work. It exercises all of the extra oxygen that you're taking in, then goes straight into your cells and goes straight to rejuvenation and healing and feeding the cells exactly what it needs. Because when you're exercising and you're breathing heavy, it's going to all your muscles. It's got to be used up in all these other ways that you're using your calves, you're using your quads, your abs, whatever else you're burning as you run or you do an exercise. But as you isolate just your breath, it can go straight to healing. That's why breath work all by itself is so powerful, because it has such a a major healing factor to it.
At the cellular level?
At the cellular level. Exactly. You know.
So we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, will you actually demonstrate like breath work?
Yes.
So people can hear it, and then they can, if they want to go watch, they can see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, had I not ever been exposed to it, I would not know how to do this.
Yeah. Seeing a demonstration helps for sure. Seeing a visual helps.
Yeah, and hearing. I think people could follow along just by hearing it. Because
Totally.
usually you're laying there with your eyes
and
closed,
I often
right?
will breathe with my class when I'm guiding them. Yeah.
All right, so let's take a quick break.
Yes. Okay. We'll be back in just a minute.
I remember loving so much going out into the backyard. Some kids had easy bake ovens, but I had a center block, and I'd make like sand, like food.
Oh, yeah, like the mud pies and stuff.
Yeah, and we'd like form different shapes of like food in the center block.
We did the same thing. We would find little treasures and turn them into different parts of our house, and it was so fun.
So much fun. Those times were so magical, and sometimes I wish that my kids got to experience what that was like. KiwiCo believes that every kid is naturally creative and curious, and the hands-on experiences build creative confidence and problem-solving skills that can change the world.
Whether it's about science or sensory play, games or geography, every crate designed by their team of experts inspires excitement, curiosity, and moments of discovery.
You know, my kids love these slimes, these gels. So the Glow Lab is like that, but it glows in the dark. So
that's so fun.
They get to play around with 3 different chemical reactions. It's taking their normal play to the next level, and they got to learn about how the chemical reaction's happening, and they got to create it. It was really cool.
We got this really cool project in our KiwiCo crate that is a levitating lantern.
What?
Yeah, it's so cool. I would have never known how to make one.
And you actually got it to levitate?
It was levitating.
KiwiCo delivers seriously fun, hands-on projects that inspire a lifelong love for learning.
KiwiCo projects are designed by a team of educators, makers, engineers, and rocket scientists who brainstorm hundreds of ideas to create the most exciting, age-appropriate, and educational projects.
Kids are discovering everything from the science of magic to engineering a domino machine and more. There's something for kids of all ages, from infants and preschoolers to teens and beyond.
Redefine learning with play. Explore hands-on projects that build creative confidence and problem-solving skills with KiwiCo.
Get 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line at kiwico.com/wildrose.
That's 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line at kiwico.com/wildrose. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Okay, let's get deeper into this breathwork session here that we're having. You're going to do an example of of what breathwork looks like.
She was going to give us that example, but on the break, she started talking about nostril breathing.
Yes. Actually, do you want to talk about that real quick? Because I had to stop her.
Why not rip out your nose hairs?
Okay.
Yeah. I waxed hundreds of people's noses all the time. Nobody wants nose hair.
They don't want yes, you don't want nose hairs coming out.
Trim them.
Your nose hairs are so important for warming the breath, catching any toxins, catching any debris, anything. You don't want that shit in your lungs. And so there's a reason nostril breathing is so important. Like on a regular basis, you should be breathing through your nose, in and out through your nose. I mean, out, it can be through your mouth, but it cleans the air. And we deal with all kinds of garbage in the air, in our houses, everywhere. And your nose is specially made for cleaning it, warming it, preparing it for the body to take in. So as you're ripping this hair out of your nose, you're potentially probably gonna get sick easier. I don't know.
You're ripping out your filtration system.
Yes, exactly. So
oh my gosh, I never thought of it like
I got my nose waxed yesterday.
That might be your last one.
It might be. It's not that I have all these nose hairs. I just like the feeling of being clean.
I know, but
now you have to get a trimmer.
You want your inside
I would
clean.
rather my lungs be clean.
If you want your lungs clean, then save that. Your body has so many ways of taking care of itself. and we kind of disrupt it.
Crazy.
It's so funny.
All the things we do for beauty that we're really just damaging ourselves
know.
long term.
For real.
Okay,
Okay, so you want me to do a demonstration?
Guide us through.
Okay, I'm going to do
it
two
works.
different styles. There's so many different styles of breath work. The stuff that we tend to focus on are two different styles. And there's no right or wrong. There's just different ways to amplify certain emotion or certain ways to get in a different air or just all different things. But the way I like to do my breath work is the deep diaphragmatic breathing, the belly chest breathing. And this is where you physically push out your belly as you begin to inhale. I like to do it through the nose, but in a breathwork class, you can do it through the mouth or the nose. It's really just to get in as much oxygen as you can. So I go through the belly and then the chest and then let it go. And then as you create a rhythm, I'll begin the whole rhythm. So it's a very wave-like sensation that goes on in your body.
Like watching a wave go
You're
through your body.
moving
Your belly,
physically,
chest.
and the more you move, the more you can kind of get into it. And it is, you're physically pushing the belly out, like expanding the rib cage as much as you can. And it is work. It's not just breathing easily. It's breath work. You burn 300 to 500 calories during 1 hour of breath work.
Yeah, I can't remember who I did my first one with, but they were wearing their Apple Watch and they're like, oh my gosh, I think it was Sam.
Yeah.
Was Sam the one?
Probably
Sam.
Sam.
And she goes,
Yeah.
I burned 350 calories
Yeah.
just breathing.
Yeah. And intentionally breathing.
Intentionally
breathing with
work.
You know, it is work. You might be sweating near the end, but you do it because you feel good immediately. It makes you feel amazing immediately. And it is hard. It might get a little challenging in the beginning stages if you're just starting out trying breath work, but it gets easier and easier and becomes more automatic. And then as you're in your day-to-day, just natural breathing, your respiratory system's so strong that you'll start to take in way more oxygen on a regular basis than you ever did before. And so just throughout your entire day, you're getting more oxygen, which is all your body wants. It's that carbon dioxide oxygen exchange, which is the carbon dioxide oxygen exchange is why we hold our breath during breath work too. We go through these breathing exercises and then we hold our breath.
Yeah, I want to know about that because that's really hard and it feels like it's for so long.
Okay, but you can hold your breath longer than you've ever thought you ever could.
Yes.
And I realized too, like we kind of get in our head, like you start to go into a little bit of panic, like, oh my gosh. And then you give a gentle reminder of actually you have all the oxygen you need. You've just been like almost like pushing this oxygen.
You load it up with tons of oxygen in your system.
Yeah. So you remind us, you're like, you have enough oxygen. You don't need to take a breath right now. And I'm like, okay, I don't need to take a breath. I don't, but I feel like I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
And you kind of go through that. And then it's actually, in every breathwork session that you do, and you've probably noticed this, it feels different. Sometimes I can hold it the entire, 2 minutes?
Totally.
And sometimes I'm like, I have to take a sip of air or I have to let a little out or whatever to get through it. It just depends. Like it's always different every time.
It is. It's a different experience every time. And that's why you have to come in with zero expectations, show up and just welcome whatever happens and whatever feelings you get. That's a huge thing. You end up having, and same thing goes with meditation. You might have the most insane, incredible experience, right? You're like, and then you come back another time, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get there again. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have this DMT psychedelic thing going on in my head. I'm gonna see all the lights. I'm gonna go to planet who knows where and then leave my body and levitate off the ground, and then this next time you do it, you're like, I didn't feel that at all. It was very different. And that's just things. You have the experience that you need to have at that time, and you have to have zero expectations and just welcome whatever experience comes about. And the less expectations you have, the better experiences you have every time, for sure. Oh, I was going to share one other breathing technique that I like to do.
Oh yeah, the second one.
The
you were
second
talking
one.
About.
This is used in yoga or Kundalini or, but it's breath of fire. And I love to throw this in my breathwork classes every now and then to really, if I can tell some people aren't getting into it or not taking it to the next level, I like to throw this in to kind of amp up and just, it really, they call it breath of fire because it warms up the body. It's not easy. You focus only on the exhale and you physically use your abdominal muscles to push the air out. And it's only in and out through the nose. And it goes something like this. Hopefully my nose is clear enough. I won't be squinting out anything, but, and it's fast. It's like a dog panting, but with your mouth closed. And you're only, like I said, you're only focused on that exhale and the inhale flows in naturally. You don't have to think about it. And it goes like this. Pretty powerful.
Can you get a 6-pack doing that?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
For those
Dude,
of
you
you
will
who
be
know,
sore afterwards.
For those of you just listening.
Exactly. If you want to amp up your respiratory system, your abdominal muscles, your chest cavity, all of that is working and it is going to just look amazing. It will. It's going to look amazing, feel amazing.
I can see your muscles moving.
You want me to show my abs while I
yes.
do? No.
Yes. Show us your abs.
Just joking.
And what does that do? What does the breath of fire do?
It's just another way to, it almost gets you to this hyperventilating state almost, but it's just to change the rhythm. It changes, it gets you out of your monkey brain. Sometimes even as you're breathing in deep, your brain can kind of, but when you have to focus just on your breath and the intensity of it and the pattern and the pace of it, you can't think about anything else. You cannot, and it gets you out of this frontal cortex part of your brain that's always problem solving. It's always what's coming next. Oh, I got to go to the grocery store after this. Oh, I got to pick up. Oh, Bobby left her shoes. I got to go. And she wants her hair braided tomorrow. And it's like all the little things. And I forgot to turn off the hose. I got to make sure I go, it turns that off and it takes you into your body completely so that you tap in to what's going on internally. And it can bring up emotion. It can bring up trauma that you've dealt with. It can bring up, and that's why I love when we do breath work, we kind of couple it with like guided meditation because of the things that start to arise when you really tap into your body. We hold so much tension and stress, anxiety. Anxiety is the number one, what do they call it? Number one disorder or disease or whatever. I can't think of the word, but it's like the most common thing that everyone deals with.
Yeah.
Everyone deals with anxiety from time to time, but some people on a much grander level. Breathwork is like the main thing that can help you deal with that. Mm-hmm. And then dealing with grief, dealing with trauma, dealing with pent up emotion that you've never given it a moment to release it and express it and let it go. Get that shit out of your body. Yeah. It is festering inside you. Everything you deal with, if it is not released properly, it is inside somewhere and it is creating disease in your body. I think that is where it contributes to cancers, disease, illness, all those types of things. People that are getting these autoimmune diseases, they can't figure out why they're always sick. They're dealing with trauma, emotion, just awful life things that happen to us but they're holding it inside.
Well, that's exactly how I figured out I was holding on to something.
Yeah.
Because I kept having colon and stomach problems, and I literally have EOE from stress.
Totally.
And that's how I figured out that there was something there. Now that I've released it and I'm working through it, I don't have the problems. Like my diagnoses have gotten better and better and better every time I get scanned.
Yes, yeah. That's so awesome. And there's zero side effects to breath work. You're like this is why the military and all these, they're using it for all these people with PTSD that coming home from, going to doing all their, what do you call those? Going
war
on
deployments
and stuff, and they come home and usually they would give them, their
drugs.
Xanax and whatever to help calm them and deal with their PTSD. No, breathwork has become so powerful, even more so than meditation. Some people have a really hard time just meditating. So breathwork helps you get to that state where you can meditate. Breathwork is the first part of it. And so it helps you deal with your PTSD, your stress, anxiety with zero side effects. You're not going to have suicidal side effects. If anything, it's going to help you have a more overwhelming feeling of love and joy in your body. It's wild.
Yeah, it really does help you connect to your body and feel like this last time we did it for Sherry's fundraiser, I was tingling everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
I love
full
that. Yeah.
body tingle.
Yeah, it's so cool. In fact, Ben, my husband, he lives a very, very high stress life constantly. And I almost tease him that he's addicted to the stress, which I think is an actual thing.
It might be a thing.
Like subconsciously. But
Totally.
Anyway, that's a different podcast. But every time he does it, he, even at the one we did outdoors for Sherry, when it was over, he said, oh my gosh, we did 3 rounds of it or 4 rounds of it. Mm-hmm. And he said, I felt like I was tingling everywhere and almost levitating felt like above my mat. I felt nothing. I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, this is the guy who can usually hear the kids on the playground. He's thinking of a million other things. He was so zoned in and focused on his body and his breath. And I could just see a calmness come over him the minute we were done. And we only did it 5
rounds
minutes
or a few, maybe
10 minutes tops. Yeah. And it completely calmed him on a level that I don't see often.
Yeah.
So
and he's really good at it because he has that military background. And I remember him telling me how they would do that training for what do you call it, the Marines. Mm-hmm. And so when he decides he's gonna do it,
mm-hmm. he's all in.
He jumps in full on, and like he did the cold plunge just the other day. He handles it like a boss, and he's like, I've done this so many times. They put you through these rigorous, insane things for military, for boot camp and all that stuff. And so he's just hasn't done it in so long. It's like he's forgotten.
Right.
And the stress and the life things have all gotten to him. So when he decides to like tap in and do some breath work and whatever, and the
it's a
cold
beautiful thing. I know my own experience with it is amazing, but to watch him, he lives just a different level of stress in his life. To watch it calm him and center him is beautiful.
I love it.
When if you think about just time, our experiences, aging, like we forget, like when we were kids, if we were playing really hard, we'd get down and like get into the position to catch our breath.
Oh yeah. Right? You hunched down.
Like,
you're right.
Like no one taught us that.
Right.
No one taught us that.
Yeah.
We just innately knew. And it's like, as I'm sitting here listening to you talk about Ben, you teaching us about it, I'm like this needs to be, like, everyone needs it.
Totally. Because we're so distracted by everything all the time. To just bring it back into
it's like our bodies knew at one point. They knew.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so one more quick break. When we come back, can we wrap it up by talking about the cold plunge?
Yes, definitely.
Wait, but I do want you to tap into one last thing on the breath work, what it actually does to your brain and what it taps into in your brain and why people have these experiences that typically people have when they use different psychedelics and things like that. Yes. So I just want to tap into
DMT.
that. So,
Okay, after the break?
No.
Or right now?
Yeah, do it now.
Okay, so this is really cool. This is my favorite part of breath work, actually, because when we do the breathing and then we do these breath holds, I kind of help you and guide you through this process where you're tightening your perineum muscle and you're tightening your core, and your perineum is like the very base. It's like clenching to hold in your pee, right? So that's like what, And by the way, practicing all this will give you a better sex performance and sex drive, which is also badass. Anyways, so as you do these breathing things and we do the breath hold, and I tell you to squeeze, the squeezing that we do. And I learned this when I was with Sherry. Anyway, so I'm getting distracted. Okay, perineum. You squeeze starting at your perineum and then up through your core, up through your chest, up through, and it kind of goes through each chakra is what it actually is doing. You're pushing it up higher, and you're intentionally, as you're holding your breath, trying to move this energy up through you to the very top of your head in your mind's eye. And what's cool is as you do that, you are getting you're pushing the air, or it's like you're massaging your spinal cord to move it up to the top where your pineal gland. Thank you for filling in my gaps. The pineal gland that's kind of in the center of your brain. And this is a magical area. It releases hormones, it releases melatonin, releases a number of things. But what's also so really cool about it is it can, when you get it to this certain pressure, this pressure that kind of pushes on the pineal gland, it can release almost like an orgasm, DMT. Really? Within our body. Yes.
Our bodies naturally make it.
Our bodies naturally make it. But when you do this exercise, you can intentionally get it. Your body naturally does it right before you die. And when you're born, and when you're first born, exactly. It can also do it, I think, in certain dreamy states. But you can intentionally practice do this. As you do these breath holds, you're forcing it up to the very, very top, and you put this pressure on the pineal gland, and it has these little crystals on it, and they call it tickling the crystals of your pineal gland, and that creates this kind of psychedelic experience. Yeah, your eyes are closed, yet it's like someone has turned on the lights, and you might just leave your body and go somewhere else for a while. And it is a very psychedelic kind of experience, but it's just tapping in, like I said, to your own pharmacy. Your body made it, and you're just utilizing it, learning how to access that. Yeah. And it has healing benefits. Melatonin also is super healing for your body. So when you can like intentionally get to that space where it's releasing, it's pretty good. It's amazing.
It's so cool.
Anyways.
And actually, Sherry did share with me as
She's
she was
the one that
learning
initially
this.
taught me that.
Yes. She was saying, I know, mushrooms and different psychedelics are, getting more and more popular again for
right.
And they're also studying them for, mental health and all of these things too, on that level. But she was telling me, Connie, which I do know this, your body is capable of having these experiences. The mushrooms or whatever you're using is just a little shortcut to get there. That's all that is.
Exactly.
It's all it is. So your breath can end pushing that, air and fluid up
to the very top of your head. Yeah.
It's
your
do that
cerebral
naturally.
spinal fluid, which also, as you get it up there, it kind of cleanses your brain. So which is why you want to stay hydrated. It's all these things of like, it cleans the brain, it washes it, and then lets it flow proper,
It's
through the
fascinating.
body, right?
It's fascinating. We need to do a breathwork session after this podcast.
Yes,
I feel like
right?
just the three of us.
Exactly.
Okay, well we're gonna
Take a break.
Take a break really quick, and we will be back, and we're gonna talk a little bit about
Cold plunge.
Cold plunge.
Yes.
We'll get into it. Welcome back, everyone. All right, we are going to talk about these cold plunges that everyone's doing because they're all posting it. What I saw one today. If you don't post it, did it happen? Did your cold plunge even happen?
I think that the cold plunge, it's like mentally hard for people, physically hard. So people are like posting it as like a badge of honor.
Yes.
Like
I hate
it's a rite
it.
of a passage.
It's true. And a lot of people, and there's been some little bit of like some people are like, oh, it's it's bad for, it probably raises your cortisol levels because it's so stressful doing it. And it's actually not true. And now, obviously, everyone's health condition is different, and you do need to take precaution when you're putting your body into a state that is really intense. So yes, you do need to take precaution. And if you do have like random, some heart problems or anything, you might want to consult your doctor ahead of time. But the point is that cold immersion, it's a good stress on your body. It's like exercising. It's like it's hard on you. It breaks your muscles down, exercising, but overall, it's good for your body. It helps, it helps in all these different ways. And so the reason we do cold immersion or cold plunge, I like to do it after breath work. You can do it. I literally do it every day now because of all the science I've been learning about that goes with it is so fascinating to me. So why do we do it? First of all, everyone hates cold water. The second you get in.
How cold is this water?
So it can be anything that's uncomfortable. Okay. Honestly, there's not a number that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. We keep ours around 40 degrees, something like that. And it needs to be uncomfortable, and it needs to be to the fact that you want to get out. Mm-hmm. And you want to get out. And that means it's cold enough. Mm-hmm. And that might be a different temperature for some people. I started out by taking cold showers. Just at the end of my shower, I'd increase it a little by little and getting colder and colder, and then counting up to 10 seconds. Okay, now 20 seconds. Okay, I'm going to go a little longer. I'm going to go 30 seconds until I get to a minute or so. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do a cold plunge now. I'll do my whole body for 3 minutes. Here we go. And it's a really good practice.
Yeah.
Way to.
I need to prep myself for this because I've still been putting it off, but I'm going to do this.
Totally.
Right.
So some of the things that are really cool about cold plunges and why we do them is, first of all, it increases your dopamine by 200 to 300%. Jeez. Dopamine? Yes.
Really?
Insane, right? Dopamine is what makes you feel good, right? This is your feel good. This makes you want to do shit in your day.
And that's the high.
It's the high. It's natural. Like life is good. I'm going to get all these things done today. I'm feeling good. The sun is shining. All those good feelings is dopamine. And so this shoots up those dopamine levels by 200 to 300%. That's immediately. It's wild. Wow. And it'll last for 4 to 6 hours after doing a cold plunge or a cold shower or whatever cold thing you decide to put your body into, honestly. So that's awesome. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Then
it's worth it just for that.
Exactly.
A natural
high.
Knowing
nothing else. Another cool thing is that it activates the cold shock protein in your body. Now what this is your body has a natural way of keeping its temperature, right? It has a natural way of warming up or cooling down when it needs to. And when your body is put into this crazy situation of being in this cold water, it basically does this like panic mode, not to like kill you or anything, but to tell everything in your body, like clean house. It's time to clean house. We got to deal with this stuff that we're in a serious situation right now. And so it releases hormones. It releases all these. It's almost like a detox going on in your body, and it's wild. The other cool thing, and so it does a little like clean out session of your body, which is why you also feel amazing afterwards.
Is that what helps with the metabolism too? Is
yes,
that true?
So that's what I'm about to explain.
Okay.
In our bodies, we have 2 types of fat. And when you're young, you have what's called a lot of brown fat. Brown fat has more mitochondria in it. This is how your body uses energy. So the more mitochondria packed your fat is, the higher metabolism you're going to have, the more ability you have. It produces more energy for your body to utilize. Okay. As we get older, your body loses its brown fat and it accumulates more white fat. And so what they have found that cold plunge does is it turns your white fat back into brown fat.
What?
It turns your white fat into brown fat. So your body, as it burns fat, it's utilizing it, creating more energy so that it's just more efficient. Wow. Yeah. it gives you all the
bodies are fascinating. I learn something new every day.
I love that fact. And so,
Wow.
yes, it increases your metabolism by a long shot. And this is doing it on a day, like not daily, but you can't just do it one time and be like, I'm good to go. You have to do it, fairly often.
What do they recommend? Like
you
a
could do
good
it daily.
amount?
You could do it daily for like a cold shower. Mm-hmm. If you don't have access to a cold plunge, it is better. I mean, this is a personal opinion, to fully immerse into the water. And like, that's how you'll get this big shock in your body. The cold showers, though, work great. And that's, like I said, how I started out doing it. And it will make you feel amazing immediately.
So if you did it once a week, do you think you'd have these kind of like
Sure.
lasting benefits? I mean, maybe they'd be a little bit slower than every day.
Start. Yeah, I think it'd be a great start.
So what do your clients do? How often are they doing it?
People have been coming in. We have now, it varies. We have some people coming in every day now. Every single day, making it their routine. They have a little membership, so they just pop in whenever they want during business hours. A lot of people do it after a yoga class or a breathwork class, so maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And then maybe supplementing, with a quick little cold shower. If you do this in the morning before you start your day, think about it. Just ending your shower with maybe a minute of a cold, base, just ending it with some cold flush on your body. Dopamine rush for the next 4 to 6 hours. You might not need your coffee. You won't need to do your pep talk in the mirror. You'll already be feeling good. I mean, the pep talk's good too. But.
Yeah, but it just expedites it.
You could do it. I would say just try it. Start it out. See how you feel. And I guarantee you're going to start wanting to do it more and more often, because it's going to make you feel good. Or when you're feeling crappy, you're like, you know what? I know what to do. I'm going to go take a cold shower, or I'm going to go jump in the cold plunge. I'm going to just change what's going on in my body. Just give it a little jump start, and it will. So anyways, that's cold plunge.
And we might want to
There's a lot more to it too.
Yeah.
But those are some really cool factors
But that's a
about
great place to start.
Yeah.
For sure.
We might want to add that you have an infrared sauna that you can hop into right after.
Exactly.
At
Yes.
Recoup.
Infrared sauna also has a lot of good benefits. But so that's why you do it all together. You do the breath work, you go jump in the cold plunge for 3 minutes, and you can go sit in the sauna afterwards. Infrared sauna does things for your circulation. It helps improve your skin. It helps improve your mood. It helps your sleep. All of those things. It's great. There you go, guys. So we have it all.
I love
we have it all at
these
Recoup.
hacks.
Come and check it out.
Because these are just like wellness, life, health hacks, but they're also beauty hacks.
Totally.
Which obviously I'm
We all
very
care.
into. Yeah.
We're all a little vain. We all want to feel good, but we also
do it
really
naturally too.
Totally.
We want our body to do it.
Exactly. We want to live forever looking good and feeling good optimally.
Yeah. Well, as everyone sees, my friends are so beautiful on the inside and out, and it's because everyone's healthy, happy for them. I mean, we all have our moments.
They care.
We're all
they care
into
about
it.
their bodies and what's
But
going on.
Sounds
for sure.
like Connie and I are gonna be in the cold plunge tomorrow.
Yeah.
My spray tan's just gonna come right off in there. But I'm sure you have someone to clean that.
Clean it right up. We have plenty of friends in that category.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time and explaining this to us and to our
course.
listeners. We love our listeners, and they love health and wellness and all of the things. So thank you so much for sharing your passion and
Yes.
expertise. And if you are in Utah, you need to go to Recoup in South Jordan.
REKUP. It's spelled a little different.
And
It's
what
after our name. Our last name's Küpper, but it's spelled KUPPER. So we named our business Recoup.
I love
it's
it.
where you come to recuperate.
Where can they find you? Your social media and website.
Yeah, Recoup Wellness is just Recoup_wellness is our Instagram. Website is recoupwellness.com. You can get all kinds of information there. If you are in Utah, you can schedule appointments or come to classes. I highly recommend. You can always get your first class for free or first cold plunge for free, just to try it out, see what it's all about. Yeah.
Yeah, come check out the energy of this place. Just that alone, it feels good to be there, and you just know you're doing something good for your body, even if it's just running into one of your friends.
Exactly.
Like it's mentally just like a good place
It's a
to be,
safe
but
haven.
physically,
Oh, good.
on all levels.
Heaven
I'm
on
glad you
earth.
feel that.
I do.
And again, thank you so much for listening. We love you. If you feel like this episode could help someone or help yourself, please share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to like and review. And of course, don't forget, be you, stay wild. Love you.
Bye, everyone.
Yay Networks.